Today we'll work on print forms. I'll give you some introduction on print forms and we'll also try to create one sample layout. So what is a print form or print layout? So these print forms or print layouts are used to print SAP data. That might be in a printout, or we can also fax it, or we can email this layout, or we can generate it as a XML document or HTML document to send it online. Okay. So when we take printouts, for example, if you go to ME23N, what is ME23N?
Material display.
The
Purchase.
purchase order.
Purchase
Purchase
order
orders.
display. MM03 is to material display. ME23N is for purchase order
Purchase
display,
order.
right? This is the purchase order, right? Any one of you observed any bill or purchase order in real life?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It will be some printout, right?
Yes, sir.
With some logo, company address, right? Company details, and in a tabular format that contains some materials, the purchase order items. What are the materials you are going to purchase? Or if you can also observe the sales order or invoice, right? When you purchase something online, you can see that invoice. It will be in some format like it have some company logo on the top and company address, and it have in middle it have all the in a tabular format it will display all the materials or items you purchased, and at the end you will be having some terms and conditions, right? So similarly, if you want the printable format of this purchase order number, how it looks like? It is disabled here. Any printout will be like this, right? Print form. I'll show you a sample thing. Take any print layout. You can take invoice, you can take purchase order, you can take sales order, bill, right? Anything you can assume. Here you'll be having your company logo. In between here, you'll be having some tabular display with all the transactions. Maybe purchase order items or sales order items, and at the end you'll be having some terms and conditions, right? So this is one of the sample print layout. Print layout will be like this, right? That might be single page, or if you have more transactions, if you have many transactions, that will be extended to the next page, right? Automatically that should extend it to the next page, these transactions, correct? If you observe any bill, maybe telephone bill or anything, if you observe, so everything will be in this format. There will be a logo and there will be a company details, and the transaction details are here in the tabular format, and at the end you will be having terms and conditions, right? So these kind of layouts we are going to design using print layouts or print forms. A printable version of SAP data, a printable, like in which like a proper layout to print your SAP data, right? Just like your offer letter, payslip, your hike letter, termination letter, all these kind of print layouts we can design in print forms, right? We can use these print forms in the program, or we can also configure these print forms in the standard transaction codes. For that we use a special transaction code NACE. So there we configure this print layouts. So first let's see what are the different print layouts available, print layout technology available in SAP ABAP. What is print form? So by using this print forms, we can print the data, we can fax the data, we can email the print layout, or we can generate a XML output. Okay. So what are the different types of print forms? So as of now, SAP scripts are available,
SmartForms,
smart forms,
AdobeForms,
Adobe forms are available. SAP scripts, smart forms, not forms. Smart forms and Adobe forms. So each print layout technology has its own advantages and disadvantages. So smart forms are advanced than SAP scripts, and Adobe forms are advanced than smart forms. In the old versions, we used to design print layouts only in SAP scripts. Later, SAP introduced smart forms with user-friendly options, with like a graphical user interface where you can drag and drop the objects and print the data. And later Adobe all of you know that PDF forms, right? So Adobe based print layouts are introduced. These are more user friendly than smart forms, and also we have advanced options. We can make it interactive. Okay. If you take SAP scripts, SAP script print layouts, we cannot print color text or background images in SAP scripts. It's all black and white text. This layout, you cannot design any colored layouts. You can only use black and white layouts in SAP scripts. And we cannot print tabular format data. We don't have table option. Somehow we can design it in the tabular format, but we don't have any dedicated option to design the tabular data, right? And also scripts are client dependent. I'll give you some introduction about scripts. T code is SC71. These are client dependent. What do you mean by client dependent? When you are working on the scripts, right? What is the transaction code? SC71. So SAP scripts are client dependent. That means if you do any changes to the SAP script in one client, those changes are not automatically available in another client. That means in a development system, for example, you are doing some changes in development client. In development client, you might have multiple clients, right? If you take the dev system, you might have multiple clients in development system. So one client we use for programming, the other client we use for unit testing, right? In development system itself. But when you are doing changes in one client, when you are working on scripts, those changes will not automatically apply to another client. But system is same. Still, the system is same. How to make those changes available to the other client? What we need to do to apply the changes to other client? When we are working on SAP scripts, if you are doing any changes to the SAP script and if you want to apply those changes to other clients also, what you need to do? You need to do client copy. What is the transaction code for client copy? What is the transaction code for client copy? SCC1. Okay. Any client dependent object, if you want to copy it to the other client, you need to use SCC1. For this, what is the input? Here what you need to enter for client copy? A transport request. Transport request where that script is added, right? First you need to assign script to the transport request, and so once the script is assigned to the transport request, you need to go to the other client where you want to apply the changes, and you need to run client copy. This is same process for standard text also. Standard text nothing but reusable text. What is standard text? Standard text nothing but reusable text we can create. The transaction is SO10. I'll explain that in tomorrow's class. So for standard text also, if you create standard text in one client, and if you want to apply same standard text to the other client, what you need to do? First you need to add that standard text to the transport request, and you need to execute client copy T code SCC1 in the other client where you want to copy these changes, right? What is in scripts we cannot print text in color. Okay, we cannot print text in color. No. Background images are not possible, like watermarks. We cannot add background images in SAP scripts.
We cannot display data tables.
Somehow we can design it in a tabular format, but we don't have the dedicated option to make it as a table. Okay. What is the transaction code for SAP scripts? SC71. Even though these are older version of print layouts, there are very few projects that are still using SAP scripts. But in recent times, I never worked on SAP scripts. If it is a new implementation project, if it is a new development, if it is a new enhancement, and every project, what is the preferable print layout we are using? Adobe Forms, not even SmartForms. Okay. If you are creating it new, if you are creating a new print layout, right? So everyone is using Adobe Forms because it is the advanced option available. But in some old projects, right? Some projects might in support phase maybe from the past 20 years also, right? In those projects, print layouts are already designed in SAP scripts, maybe years ago. If there are any changes required, if there is any issues, we need to know how to fix those issues in SAP scripts, because no one will convert those old layouts into advanced layouts without any requirement. If we are creating it newly, obviously we can choose Adobe Forms, or if Adobe Forms not possible, we use SmartForms. Not possible in the sense depends on the skills of the developer. If he doesn't know how to create Adobe Form, obviously he'll go for SmartForms, right? So the project quality and standards, right, also depends on the skilled resources. If you have skilled resources, they'll use advanced options available, right? When we have a new development, when you have a new program, they'll implement all the advanced options available, right? Otherwise, what they'll do, if they don't have advanced skills, what they'll do, they'll implement what they know, right? If they are familiar with smart forms, they'll create the print layouts in smart form only because they don't know how to create print layouts in Adobe Forms, right? Yes, now we'll see smart forms. I forgot to mention one thing. To call the SAP scripts, right? We use function modules. We use function modules to call the SAP scripts. How to print these forms? How to print any print layout? We need to call these print layouts in some program. So the program will make these print layouts execute. How to execute the print layouts? We need to call print layouts in a driver program. What do we call that program? What do we call the program which are going to trigger the print layouts? We call that as a driver program. When we are working with the print layouts, right? So you'll hear a term called print layouts, or sorry, driver program. Driver program nothing but a SE38 report program, which will trigger print layouts. In SE38 we create a program, and inside that program we call these print layouts, maybe SAP script, smart forms, or Adobe Forms. If it is a custom requirement, right? If it is a standard transaction code where we are going to configure the print layouts, a transaction code called NACE. Okay.
Sir, driver program T code is SE38, sir.
Yes. Driver program nothing but normal report program, right?
Okay, both are same. Both are same, sir.
Both are same, but when we are working with print layouts, right? When we are calling
Yes.
these print layouts in the program, we call them as driver programs because these programs are going to trigger that print output. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Driver program nothing but a report program. Don't confuse report program or driver program. Okay. Both are same. But when we are
Okay, sir.
calling in the print layouts in the program, we call it as driver program. Okay. Driver program nothing but a custom program, or if it is a standard transaction code. For example, you need to configure a print layout for ME purchase order transaction code or sales order transaction code, where you can configure, or maybe delivery, where you can configure. You can
Yes.
do that configurations in NACE transaction code. Okay. If it is a custom development, you'll create a custom program, and you're going to call that print layout in your program. The program we call it as driver program. But how to call these print layouts in your driver program? SAP scripts are called using function modules. What are those function modules? Open form is the one function module. What is the input for this? Script name, SAP script name. So you have to pass SAP script name for this open form function module. And second one is write underscore form. And third one is close form. So we call SAP scripts in the driver program using these three function modules: open form, okay, write form, write form, and close form. Okay, clear?
Sir, SAP scripts are mainly used to print text, sir.
Yes, print text.
Just like
Maybe
hospital guide rules and regulations.
it's like any billing document, any bill, any sales order, any purchase order, right?
Yes, sir.
We can print any sales orders or purchase orders. If you take this is example of print output, SAP script print output. This is logo, this is address, this is purchase order details, and these are the item details, right? Item 1, 2, quantity, and at the end, terms and conditions. This is example for script layout. Only thing is we cannot print colored text here. In scripts, we cannot print the color text, and we don't have a table format. Here with the lines, we designed this table, but this is not the actual table format. Okay?
Bill receipts, sir.
Huh. Bill receipts,
So
everything. You see?
bill receipts are not show, most of the not show table types, sir, only rows type.
Yes. So this is also example for script layout. So when we are working on the things, you can understand. But so yeah, any layout you can take. Any layout you can take. This is not script layout. This might be Adobe Form or Smart Form because we have colored text here. So any print layout, you can assume your any bill. Okay.
Sir, NACE is the transaction code, sir.
Yes, NAC is the transaction code to configure the print layouts
Okay,
or
sir.
output types. Deals with outputs. Okay. NAC deals with outputs. not only print layouts, we can also configure, like we can also design like whenever we click on some options, whenever the user issued the output, what type of output it is, and we can also control the output. So outputs are different types, maybe print, email, idoc, fax, right? These are all output types. We can configure these output types in NACE transaction code. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So smart forms are also print layouts advanced than SAP scripts. Okay. T code is smart forms only. T code is smart forms. Transaction code to open the smart forms are smart forms.
Sir, forms spellings.
Sorry, there is a disturbance here. Okay. So what are smart forms? Smart forms are client independent. Smart forms are client independent. That means if you do changes in one client, those form changes will be automatically available to all the clients of the system, SAP system. Okay. Let's assume there are three different servers: development, test, and production system. Now, when we are working in the development system might contain multiple clients, right? One is for development activities like creating objects. The other client we might use for unit testing, which contains some test data, right? So when you do changes in one client, these changes will be automatically available in other client. When we are working with smart forms, you don't need to do any client copy. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
And also smart forms are user friendly. Here you have a graphical user interface. Okay, in SmartForms we have a user-friendly graphical screen is available to design the print layout. And when you create a smart form and activated the smart form, what it will do? Smart form will generate a function module. Smart form will generate a function module. When you create the smart form and activated it, it will generate a function module. Call this how to call the smart form? Smart form will generate a function module. Smart form will automatically generate a function module. To call the smart form in the driver program, we are going to call that generated function module in the driver program. Okay? Or to execute the smart form, we can use that function module. If you know how to call the function module, you and you can understand how to call the smart form in your driver program. Okay? So smart forms can print color text and background images. These are the advantages over SAP scripts when we are using smart forms. And also we can design data in tabular format, right? So when we are working with the smart forms, right, to call the how to call the smart form in a driver program?
by function module.
By using its function module.
Function.
But we are not going to directly call that function module in a program. Smart form will generate a function module, and we are not going to call that function module directly in the driver program. Because, so where are you creating the smart form first? When you are working in the project, in which environment you are going to create the smart form? First, you'll develop that in development environment, right? First, you create the smart form in development environment. Then what is the next step? Once the development is completed, what is the next process of after development?
Test it.
We'll move it to the test system, right? For testing. We'll move it to the test system using for testing, right? So when you apply it to the test system, in test system, it will generate another function module for that smart form, right? So the smart form will generate the dynamic function modules automatically. So it will generate one function module name in a development system, and when you move it to the test system, it will generate another function module name. Depends on the serial number or configuration available in that test system. And once the testing is completed and when you move it to the production system, it will generate another function module name for the same smart form. Smart form is same, but it will generate different function modules in different systems, right? But if you write it, if you call your if you develop your driver program by calling the function module which is generated in the development system, and when you transported the program to test system, is it going to work?
No, sir.
No, because the function module generated in a test system is different. The function module which you are calling in the driver program, that is not going to be available in a test system. Your program is not going to work. It will lead to short dumps, right? So that's why we should not directly call the SmartForms function module in driver program. For that, what we need to do? We need to use a special function module, that is SSF underscore. So to call the SmartForm in driver program, we need to use a FM, that is SSF underscore function module underscore name. By using this function module, we are going to call the SmartForm function module in the driver program. What is the input for this? Input is SmartForm name. What is the output? What is the input for this SSF function module name?
Smart
We
farm.
need to pass the SmartForm name as input. What it will return? The function module generated for that SmartForm, right? The function module generated for that SmartForm, and we are going to call that function module, that generated function module, so that we are not going to hard code that function module, SmartForm function module. First, we are going to call this SSF function module name. Then it will give us the function module which is generated for that SmartForm in that particular system, and we are going to call that function module. So there is no dependency on the function module name here. It will SSF function module will provide us the function module which is available in that current system. So we are going to call that function module, right? If you don't use SSF function module and if you directly call the SmartForm function module, it will work in the development system. But when you transported it to test system, is it going to work? No, because when you transported it to the test system, right, that SmartForm will generate a separate function module name in test system, and in production also it will generate a separate function module name. That's why we should not call function modules directly. This concept is same for AdobeForms also. This concept is same for AdobeForms also. AdobeForms also generate a function module, and we should not call that AdobeForms function module directly in the driver program, right? Calling the SmartForms and AdobeForms are very similar. Okay, you need to call a function module, and if you know how to work with function modules, you can easily understand how to call the print layouts in your program. Okay, only additional thing here is designing the layout. I think everyone will be interested. Like here we are going to design some layouts, right? With logos and formats, and also we have drag and drop options. You don't need to write any code to design the print layout in SmartForms or Adobe Forms. Okay, clear? Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, so we have a concept called windows. Windows in SmartForms. What is the use of these windows? Windows are like this. We'll use one window for logo. We'll use one window for address to print the address. We are fixing the layout. So in this area, I'm going to print the layout, and in this area, I'm going to print the address. And in this area, I'm going to print the transaction details. And in this area, I'm going to print the terms and conditions. So we have different types of windows in SmartForms. They are, first window is main window, secondary window, final window, copies window. So why we have these many windows, different types of windows? Main window is expandable. Main window is expandable. For example, we use main window for transactions. If we have more transactions, it should automatically flow to the second page, right? Depends on the number of transactions. For that property to flow into the next page automatically, what type of window we use? Main window. So it will automatically flow into the second page. Depends on the text, length of the text available. Okay. If the data available is not fit for the first page, the main window will automatically expand to second page. What about secondary windows? These are all example for the secondary windows, logo and company address. These are all fixed width. It won't expand, right? Secondary windows are fixed width windows. They're not going to expand, depends on the data, right? If data is not like if you have data like with huge length, it will print only at specified length. It will ignore the rest. That is called secondary window. What is final window? We have another window called final window. So final, whatever the logic or whatever the elements we included in the final window, right? When they are going to execute? After completion of all windows, all the remaining windows. At the end, that final window will execute. Okay? At the end, that final window will execute after processing all the rest of the windows. What is the other type? Copies window. What is copies window? Copies window we use to print multiple copies of the same print layout. For example, sometimes when you are sending some applications, right? Used to send it for multiple persons, right? Used to send it for multiple persons. For example, for manager, you are going to send the original print layout or original copy of that letter, and also you are going to copy the remaining persons, right? For For branch manager, you are going to send the original print copy. And for the clerk, you are going to send one copy, but that is not the original. And for another clerk, you are going to send one more copy, but the original copy you are going to send it to the manager. For the rest of the guys, you are going to send some reference copies, right? In applications, you might observe copy to this person, copy to this person. At the end, they used to mention. So the same copy will be distributed to multiple persons. Here, we are going to print which one is the original print and which one is the copy. To handle that copies, right, we use a copies window. The same print layout will make multiple copies and will make one copy as original and the remaining as copies. Okay, to handle that, we use a copies window. Okay, clear? So in scripts also we have concept of main windows. In script also we have concept of main window. How many main windows we can use in script?
19.
And one main window is required, right? But in SmartForms we can use only one main window. We can create SmartForms without main window also. Okay, but how many what are the maximum allowed main windows? One main window we use in SmartForms. We can also create SmartForms without a main window. That is also possible. Okay, so the another difference between SmartForms and scripts, right? In scripts we have same page formats for all pages. When you are designing multiple pages, 2 pages or 3 pages, we are going to have same page format in SAP script. For example, landscape or vertical, if you take A4, A3 formats, we don't have separate page formats for each page in SAP scripts, but in SmartForms we can have a separate page format for each page. Page 1, page 2, page 3, like that. Okay, if you take your offer letter, there might be multiple pages, right? So we're going to design, if you want to design this each page with a separate layout, that is possible in SmartForms. Okay, so Adobe Forms concept is little different. We don't have Windows concept here, we use subforms concept. What is the transaction code for Adobe Forms? SFP.
SFP.
SFP is the transaction code for Adobe Forms. In Adobe Forms, right, Adobe Forms are little different than SmartForms and scripts. So Adobe Forms are PDF based forms. When you created the SmartForms, right, it is not going to generate the PDF layout automatically. You need to convert it to PDF. So when you are using SmartForms, right, you cannot generate the PDF output automatically. You need to convert it into PDF externally. It won't generate the PDF output, right? But in Adobe Forms are PDF based forms. It will automatically generate the PDF output. Okay? And Adobe Forms are interactive. Interactive means once you generated the forms, you can edit or you can enter the data in the output, form output. But in smart forms, once the layout is generated, you cannot enter any data. Okay? But Adobe Forms are interactive. Once the output is generated, you can make few fields as interactive. You can still enter the data in it. And also, Adobe Forms are user friendly than smart forms. Okay? Adobe Forms are more user friendly than smart forms. It will generate the PDF output. But how Adobe Forms are different from smart forms when we are developing it? So for smart forms or SAP scripts, we only design smart form or SAP script, only one object. For Adobe Forms, we need to develop, we need to first create a form interface and then form layout. We create two objects here for Adobe Form in SFP transaction code, form interface and form layout. To work with smart forms, we don't need any add-on or any additional software. But for to work with Adobe Forms, right, we need a special software, that is Adobe
Life cycle design.
Adobe Lifecycle Designer. Without this software in your system, you cannot create Adobe Forms. This is required.
Is it required even for the form interface, sir?
For form interface, it is not required. To design the form, right, it is required. What
Okay.
is the use of creating only form interface? Our main purpose is to design the
Yes, sir.
layout, right?
Yes, yes.
Hmm. So how to call the Adobe Forms? Adobe Forms will also generate a function module when you created the smart form. Sorry, Adobe Form. It will also generate one function module. How to call this Adobe Form in your program? Are you going to directly call that function module name? No. We have a function module to get or to read function module generated for that Adobe form. That function module is FP module underscore name. So what is the input for this function module? Adobe form name. Adobe form name. And what it will return? Function module name of function module generated for that Adobe form. And in the next step, we are going to call that function module. Okay. Clear? So to call the Adobe form, right? First we call this function module fp underscore open underscore job. For this, you are going to pass the print parameters. Print parameters like printer details and everything. The second function module is fp underscore function name. This is the second function module. And this is to get the function module name generated for the Adobe form. Third function module is call fm, that function module which is returned by fp function module name. So here we are going to use that variable which is returned by fp function module name. And after calling the function module returned by fp function module name, fp close job. So this is how we are going to call the Adobe form in your driver program. Okay. So these are the three different print layouts available in SAP ABAP. So there is one difference here between SmartForms scripts and Adobe Forms. When we are printing the logos, right? In the Adobe Forms, you can directly upload from your local system. The logos can be directly upload from your local system. But in SmartForms or scripts, right? You cannot directly upload in your from your local system. You cannot directly if you take this layout as your logo, if it is a Adobe form, you can directly upload it from your local system if logo is available in your system. But if it is a smart form or script, you cannot directly upload. Okay. First, you need to upload it into SC78. This logo should be first uploaded to SC78. Then from there, from that SC78 logo, you can refer here in smart forms or scripts. SC78 is the transaction code to work with graphics, logos. Okay. For reusable logos, here all the logos will be uploaded. Whatever the logos you wanted to use in your you can have both black and white and colored logos here. So all the logos will be maintained in which transaction code?
SC78.
SC78. Selected the logo and click on where is display. So this is the logo. Someone uploaded this logo. All the logos will be automatically available here in the SC78 transaction code, or you can upload your own logo. You can upload your own logo. Click on enter. This is someone uploaded this logo, color logo or black and white logo. You can upload any logo. And what is the logo name? Z logo, right? So this logo name you can use in SAP scripts or in SmartForms to print that logo. We create a window, and inside that window we provide this logo name. To upload the new logo, what is required? For example, to use the logo in SmartForms or scripts, what is required? First you need to upload this logo, right? I'm designing a sample logo. Save as bitmap image somewhere in your local system. Now go to, what is the transaction code? SC78. Click on import. Select the graphics and click on import. Select the bitmap image. Click on import. Select the bitmap image. Click on import and browse your local system. So this is the logo. Select your logo. Provide a name. Provide a name and description. And is it a color image or you want to make it as a black and white image? I want to make it as a color bitmap image. Click on continue. Allow. It will upload the logo into SC78. Right? Now go to search that. Go to SC78. Go to bitmap images and you can search here. Select the color. Or you can also use star to find that logo.
Logos.
This one, right? Enter. Click on enter or click on print preview. If you click on the print preview, you can display the logo. So by using this name you have to configure in SmartForm or in script, wherever you want to print the logo, right? But in Adobe Forms, right, you don't need to use SC78. You can directly upload it from the local system. Okay. Okay. SC78, that logo should be first maintained in SC78 to use it in SmartForms or scripts. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes,
So I think it's already 9:15. Okay, shall we create object tomorrow?
yes, sir. Tomorrow.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay then.